So if you're watching this video and you're a beginner and you want to make money online in 2023, you're going to want to watch this video all the way through, because I'm going to tell you 3 of the best and quite frankly, most unknown side hustles that you can start this year. And if you do this, I promise you, you're going to be able to take advantage of this brand new emerging way to create an income online using what is called the skills economy. Let's jump into it.
Welcome to the Remote Closing Academy.
Now, before we get too deep into these side hustles, I want to tell you just a really quick backstory on how I actually stumbled upon this new submarket of making money online. And no, this isn't going to be like a rags to riches story or anything like that, but knowing the things that I went through, it'll help you from making the same mistakes that I did. So back in 2017, I started one of my first online businesses, which was a social media marketing agency, or SMMA. And don't get me wrong, it was a great business, but I quickly realized 3 major flaws within this business model. Number 1 is that I had to learn a ton of different skills to see success. Not only did I have to learn things like finding the clients, prospecting, actually selling them into the offer, creating the offer in the first place, running the ads, fulfilling the clients, dealing with ad accounts getting shut down all the time, unhappy clients. I mean, you can really quickly see just from me naming all those things how quickly it became overwhelming. So that was number 1. Number 2 is that you don't really take home a ton of money after everything is said and done. I mean, if you simply just want to make $10,000 a month online, your business would have to be doing anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 a month just to be able to take that home. And number 3 is the time aspect. As a business owner, it all falls back on you. So if anything goes wrong, all the time that you're spending is literally putting out fires and fixing problems. Now, the breaking point for me was, I'll never forget, one day it was a 12-hour workday. Because I'm the business owner, I have to do all these different things. I looked at my wife and she had spent the entire day with our screaming kids and she was exhausted. And I can just see it in her eyes. And from that very moment, I knew this needed to change, and we need to make the change very, very quickly. So if at this point, any of those things turn you off and you're like, you know what, I don't want to deal with that, then let's go ahead and jump into these side hustles. So the first one here, guys, is a skill called media buying. Now, if you haven't heard of media buying before, let me go ahead and break it down in the simplest way that I can. So you've probably watched a YouTube video before and have seen some sort of ad that is run before or in the middle of that YouTube video. But what you might actually not know is there's someone behind the scenes called a media buyer who does a couple things. They set up those ad campaigns. They select the right targeting of who to put that advertisement in front of. They select the right placements to show the ad and where they're watching, whether it's on a video, in the actual feed itself. And then they optimize and perform a variety of different split tests to make sure the campaign is performing in the best as possible. Now put yourself in the shoes of like a big company or a big influencer. Do you think you're going to be running your own ads? Heck no. They're not going to spend the time doing that. They're going to hire a media buyer who knows exactly what they're doing to do it themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how in demand this skill is by showing you on the screen here. So this is a free Facebook group. It's called ClickFunnels. You might know it if you're in the, in the online marketing space, but I'm just going to go over here and click on the search button and I'm going to type in media buyer. And I want you to see how many results come up. I did this a couple months ago, but so look at this guy. Danny is looking for a media buyer. He posted this 2 days ago. Slide the DMs. Experienced Facebook media buyer. They are looking for a rockstar Facebook media buyer. Job title, experienced Facebook ad media buyer. This was, about 15 days ago. And I can literally scroll in here. It looks like this guy's actually been trying to find people more often, but they're right here. We're hiring experienced Facebook ads media buyer for construction and roofing. So $600 to $1,000 per month per client. So if you take that math there and you help them sign on, let's say 5 different clients, that's already $5,000 a month. And we'll break down a little bit more of the money aspect here too, but I just wanted to open this up and show the opportunity of the amount of people that are hiring, and these are all relatively recent posts. Now, Facebook is one of the many sites that you can use to do this, but there are things like Fiverr, like Upwork, like Indeed, and there are hundreds, probably if not thousands of companies that are looking to hire people that can do this exact thing. Now, you might be thinking, calling out the elephant in the room, Aaron, I don't know a dang thing about media buying. Why would I ever win a job on one of these platforms? Well, here's the thing. Most media buyers are absolutely terrible. And I can tell you from direct experience of working with my business partner, we've went through a ton of them. And what usually happens is because there's media buyers that are coming from these bigger corporations, all they really care about are getting eyeballs and impressions, but very few are actually good at what is called performance marketing, which means being able to spend $1 and getting more than $1 back. If you know how to do this and you figure out how to do this, you're going to make a lot of money as a media buyer. So, okay, you don't know anything about it. How do you learn? Honestly, most of what you can learn is on sites like YouTube. There's a guy specifically that we actually really love watching. His name is Alex Becker. If you just search up like Alex Becker Hyros, Jeff, you can throw it up on screen. He goes really, really high level into like YouTube and Facebook strategies. Now, if you're looking for more of like a shortcut to success, there's a guy named Jason Hornung. You can buy his course. I believe it's called the Academy of Advertising, I want to say it is. And we're not an affiliate or anything. You can just go through that. It's one of the ones that I did when I first started. Now, save the best for last. How much money can you actually make? So if you're a beginner with no case studies, you've never worked with clients before, you can usually charge anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 per month as long as you offer a performance guarantee. Meaning, if you don't hit specific key performance indicators, you just give their money back. And what this does is it puts you in a position where, okay, because you're just learning and you don't get those results, you're not saying that you're never going to give their money back, and it gives you a little bit of leeway because you are learning for the first time. Now, for using those numbers, if you just did this for one client at $2,500 to $5,000 a month, depending on what you're making on your 9 to 5, you can leave your 9 to 5. And then once you get really good, you can manage up to 10 clients in a normal work week, making anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a month based on what you're charging. And the beautiful part about this is, like anything in life, the better you get at it, the more people are willing to pay. So you can take your prices from the $2,500 to $5,000 up to $8,000, $10,000, even $12,000 per account. For example, I have a buddy that actually does $40,000 to $50,000 a month on one single account. So based on all of what I just talked about, this fits all of the parameters that puts this in the skills economy. There's no startup capital. You don't need any prior experience. There's no barrier to entry outside of the skills that you are acquiring. So you can do this by yourself. You can do it without a team, working from anywhere in the world, only needing a laptop and a good internet connection. That's it. Let's jump into number 2. Now, keep in mind, these next two will be a lot easier to understand now that you understand the basics of the first. But number 2 is copywriting. So now that you know that media buying is running and managing the ads that you see in your newsfeed. Now, guess who actually writes and scripts the ads and the videos that you're actually seeing on these advertisements? And if you answer the business owners, that's a no. It's not the media buyer themselves. Usually, it is a freelance copywriter. And very much so, like media buying, there are tons of businesses who need this skill. So like before, we're going to come over to the ClickFunnels group. This is the easiest way that I can do it. And we're going to go and search and type up copywriter. Look, already a suggested thing that's come up. So if we scroll down here, so this person's looking for a full-time copywriter who has experience working with coaches, consultants, and service businesses, earning potential $2,000 to $10,000 per month. So again, economics are there. I can scroll down here all day long, and there's a ton of people that are looking for someone that can do this. Not to mention the other sites out there like Upwork, like Fiverr, like Indeed, so many that you can find a copywriting job. And at this point, you might be saying, well, Aaron, I was never good at English class. I don't like to write. How could I do copywriting if I don't like to do that? Well, you've probably seen all this talk about ChatGPT and AI and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you on screen here how you can use ChatGPT to write Facebook ad copy for you. So I put a little thing down here, write me a Facebook ad that is witty and conversational that advertises my masterclass about how you can leave your 9 to 5 job while being a freelance copywriter. So kind of meta, but we're going to click enter and we're going to see what it comes up with. So here we go. It's literally ChatGPT can be your copywriter. So they're saying, ready to break free from the 9 to 5 grind and live life on your own terms. We've got the solution. Join our masterclass on how to leave your 9 to 5 and become a freelance copywriter. Now, obviously, this might not be like the best example, but I mean, even added hashtags out here. Say goodbye to 9 to 5. Live your dreams. Become a freelance copywriter. So again, you might have to go in here and, you can even ask them, hey, write me another one, or, write it in the version of XYZ. So you can get a little creative with it. Now, again, like I said, disclaimer, you're going to want to improve upon that. You're going to want to innovate, but it's going to do 90% of the work for you. Now, of course, the age-old question of how much money can I make doing this? Well, you can easily charge, from what I've seen, anywhere from $300 to $1,000 per advertisement that you write. And depending on the ad, it could take anywhere from 2 hours to 48 hours to crank out. So you're easily looking at making $10,000 to $20,000 if you're doing, let's say, an ad or two a day. Now, once you get really, really good, you can make massive premiums. For instance, Cole has a friend that he actually charges anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 for a single sales video. And that might take, it might take him like 2 weeks to do that, but that's a $50,000 project for one thing that he's doing. Now you might be saying, Aaron, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are people and businesses willing to pay this much? Well, because here's the thing. If they create that one video and it becomes really, really good, and because they're good at it, they know it's going to perform, that company can make millions upon millions of dollars from that advertisement. So it makes sense to, again, charge what they're worth. So last thing I'll say here about copywriting is once you learn how to sell with video scripts or printed words, you'll never have to worry about making money again. You'll never run out of people that need this exact skill that you can supply. And it'll honestly be the foundation of any business you build in the future. Let's say you do this for the next, 1 to 2 years, you build up cash. If you get really, really good at that, it's going to be the thing that drives your business forward. And that's why we just love this skills economy. You get to focus on one thing that'll pay dividends for you in a lifetime if you do finally decide to start your own business. So let's go ahead and jump into the last one, which is my favorite, called remote closing. Remember earlier how I talked about I had that social media marketing agency? Well, remote closing is the thing that got me out of the debt that I put myself in, being able to make anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a month. So let's go ahead and use that ad example that we used earlier to give you an idea of what remote closing is. So at this point, you know who is behind the scenes running the ads, you know who's actually writing the scripts for these ads, but have you ever wondered where all these online influencers that you see on YouTube are actually making their money? People like Grant Cardone, Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, people like that. Well, let me go ahead and break down the actual business model of all these businesses and how remote closing ties in. What they do is they run an advertisement, usually to a $9 or a $97 product, so they can recoup some of the money that they're actually using to spend on those ads. But the thing is that they actually a lot of times lose a little bit of money on the front end by doing this. So where do you think they really make the money? It's by driving those buyers, the people that buy the $9 to $97 product, to a sales call where they sell something for $5,000 to $100,000 into their coaching programs, into their events, or into their masterminds. Now, here's where the problem lies and where someone like you can step in. Someone's gonna take those sales calls. So if you're running a full-time business, you're gonna run out of time to do that very, very quickly. I mean, these influencers, they're not gonna be sitting on calls all day long. They're actually running the business. So again, this is where you come in. You come in, you take some of the sales calls off the entrepreneur's plate, and you usually charge about 10% of commission per sale for whatever you close. The entrepreneur wins because they're not taking any calls and can actually scale their business and grow it to the point where they want to. And you win because you get to focus on one skill, which is remote closing, and in doing so, create a massive income without ever having to start a business, product, or your own service. Now, for the last time of this video, let's break down how the economics work. So usually what's gonna happen, general day in the life of a closer, you're gonna work Monday through Friday. So that is about 20 days out of the month. And then you're gonna take about 5 calls per day out of those 20 days out of the month. On average, you should be closing at about 20%. It's about industry standards. So that would be 20 sales per month if you use those same pieces of information. Now, let's say the price of what you're selling is only $5,000, which is generally on the lower end. So that's $500 commission times the 20 deals that you would close, which is $10,000 a month. Now, let me paint this picture for you. Imagine you're just making more sales. Imagine you were selling something that's $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. You're gonna make 10% of that. For example, in our company, our highest product is $68,000. So imagine how much closers make on that. Actually, I'll tell you, 10%. So it's $6,800. So for me, when I got into remote closing after failing with my businesses, within 30 days, I was making $5,000 a month. Then from there, I was able to make anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 a month within the year from learning all these different skills and doing it over and over and over again. I actually did a podcast with one of our students that did over $98,000 in commissions in a single month because he was working multiple accounts and he was really able to get good at this one skill set in this skills economy. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and I'll call it the elephant in the room. Most people, when they hear the word sales, they say, well, sales not for me, or I'm not a natural born salesperson. Well, I'm going to tell you that this is very, very different from the traditional, pound the pavement, boiler room, sit and cold call all day long, is because you're not going to cold call. You don't deal with these really long sales cycles of waiting, 1 or 2 months for things to actually happen. You're not looked at as like a slimy salesperson by customers because you're actually helping them. You don't have to generate any of your own leads. You don't have to do any of that stuff. With remote closing, all of the leads are generated for you. And these are people that are pre-framed, pre-sold, and pre-educated on what you have to offer before you're even speaking with them, whether they're watching a video, whether they're seeing a page with all the information, and you're selling something that's actually making an impact. With me, with remote closing, I have people messaging me, weeks, months after jumping into our programs where they're thanking me from actually bringing them into the program. So it's a completely different dynamic. And like some of the other things we talked about, you can do it entirely remotely, working from anywhere within the world, and all you need is a Wi-Fi connection and an iPhone. And similar to copywriting, once you master this one skill, you'll never have to worry about making money again. This is the one that we call recession proof, because no matter what place in the economy, no matter what you're doing, no matter where we are within the world, you will always be able to make money if you understand sales. Now, it'll just be redundant if I share my screen again, but use the same group, go to ClickFunnels, type in a high ticket closer, and you're gonna find a ton of people that are looking exactly for people just like you that need to be a remote closer for their business. So at this point, you might be asking, well, okay, how do I get better at closing? How do I get better at the skill set? Well, if you click the first link down in the description, it's going to bring you to an entire masterclass that my business partner Cole actually put together. He's the one that got me introduced to the entire space. It's going to go through exactly what remote closing is, kind of go over some of the stuff we already talked about, and how you can use this one timeless, forgotten about skill to make a massive impact, not only in people's lives, but also create a better life for yourself in the process of doing all that. So check that out. It'll give you the information you need to get out of your 9 to 5 if you don't enjoy being there and you want to make more and really create an impact in other people's lives and change your life as well. So click the link down below. We'll see you guys on the inside.